Welcome to the Memory and History channel. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on more videos like this one. On April 13th, 1990, Mikhail Gorbachev handed Wojciech Jaruzelski files detailing 21,000 Polish soldiers executed by NKVD in 1940. 50 years of lies ended. The Soviet Union finally admitted Katyn massacre responsibility. In 1907, Delaware, 2 men endured the pillory while another faced the whipping post. Public punishment, medieval justice surviving into 20th century. Humiliation and pain as deterrent. America's criminal system clung to archaic brutality. Bodies displayed, suffering made spectacle, dignity stripped in the name of law and order. In the 1930s, a Japanese soldier posed outdoors, uniform crisp, expression stoic. Empire's servant, duty's embodiment. The photograph captured militarism's rise before invasion consumed Asia. He stood prepared for orders, loyalty absolute. In 1965, Indonesia, men waited for execution during communist purges. Fear etched on faces, death minutes away. Political violence became massacre. Hundreds of thousands would die. They sat knowing their end approached, victims of ideology's cruelest chapter, humanity erased by accusations, paranoia, and government-sanctioned genocide's brutal machinery. On May 30th, 1945, Erich Hammond's final photograph was taken 1 hour before execution. Former German colonel convicted by British tribunal for murdering a freed Russian slave laborer on VE Day itself. Liberation's joy met one man's final cruelty. Justice arrived swiftly through firing squad, accounting rendered complete. In May 1945, a woman walked through Berlin's ruins after the battle ended. Destruction stretched endlessly. Her city reduced to rubble, empire collapsed completely. She moved through apocalypse made real, survival's next chapter uncertain. Every step navigated shattered Reich, one person amid millions facing Germany's devastated. In 1936, Jewish people protested desperately at Ellis Island against deportation back to Germany. They knew what awaited: persecution, violence, death, America's gates closing as Nazi terror rose, their pleas captured in photographs. Refugees begging sanctuary from a nation that would turn many away to face the Holocaust's approaching storm. In 1907, a Texas cowboy stood tall, the West's rugged spirit captured in one image. Weathered face, worn leather, steel gaze, frontier life etched into every line. He represented a vanishing breed, men who lived by horses, cattle, and code. America's mythology made flesh and bone. In 1909, workers at Hingley and Son forged the Titanic's massive anchor chain. Metal rang beneath hammers, sparks flew. They built strength to hold history's grandest ship. Iron links promised safety. 3 years later, those chains couldn't hold destiny. Craftsmanship couldn't prevent tragedy waiting beneath icy Atlantic waters. In 1921, the cabinet of Dr. Caligari twisted reality into nightmare. Shadows bent, walls leaned, madness became art. This gelatin silver photograph captured German Expressionism's dark soul, a film where sanity crumbled, and cinema learned to dream in haunting, distorted beauty. In 1945, Czechoslovakia, German POWs slapped each other on Czech guards' orders. Humiliation replaced combat, victors demanded degradation. Years of occupation's cruelty now reversed. Revenge wore many faces. The liberated became tormentors, turning captured enemy into spectacle of shame. Thoughts on the Battle of Chosin Reservoir, and more specifically, the greatest evacuation in U.S. history. On November 3rd, 1945, Marseille received one of America's first SNCF Class 141R locomotives, unloaded from Liberty ship Harold O. Wilson. Steel Hope arrived from across the Atlantic. France's railways shattered by war, now rebuilt through Allied generosity. Reconstruction rolled forward on American wheels, one massive engine at a time. A wounded soldier was transported from battlefield to aid station, body broken but breathing. Medics moved carefully, urgently. Blood-stained stretchers, pain-etched faces. Between frontline and hospital, between injury and hope, survival hung on the shoulders of those who carried him. On November 2nd, 1925, Wales' Llyn Egau Dam burst after days of torrential rain, devastating Dolgarrog village. Water became destruction. Porth Elwyd disappeared beneath the flood's fury. 16 lives lost. Engineering failed against nature's relentless power. A community shattered in moments. In 1860, a woman was dressed using long poles to lift fabric over her crinolin's massive hoops. Fashion demanded engineering, beauty required assistance, servants wielded poles like construction workers, Victorian vanity's absurd extreme, elegance achieved through ridiculous effort. One dress became architectural challenge. In 1989, Tom Fox's last photograph was taken minutes before AIDS claimed him at 33. Eyes still open, life fading fast. The epidemic's cruel arithmetic, youth plus virus equals death. One more victim of a plague that stole an entire generation. His final moment captured, love and loss frozen together. In 1892, Spanish Civil Guard officers posed in Cuba, colonial authority made visible through uniforms and stance. Paramilitary power enforcing empire's grip. They represented Madrid's control over restless island. Within years, their presence would crumble. Revolution waited. Independence approached. In 1944, New York, a woman was carried from a doctor's apartment after police raided the illegal abortion practice. Desperation met prosecution, medical need criminalized. She required help authorities refused to provide legally. Bodies became evidence, healthcare became crime, women's suffering turned into spectacle by laws designed to control, not protect. On September 6, 1943, VT-31's TBF Avenger crew scrambled desperately from their sinking aircraft after ditching near USS Cabot. Metal disappeared beneath waves. Men fought water, time, and panic. Carriers launched planes constantly. Sometimes they returned broken. Survival meant escaping steel coffins before the ocean claimed everything. On November 2nd, 1925, Poland unveiled Warsaw's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. A mother chose the remains, dressed in NCO uniform. Military delegations, grieving mothers, and war orphans escorted him. One body represented thousands. The nation honored sacrifice through ritual. In January 1964, Atlanta, Ku Klux Klan members marched past black demonstrators near segregated hotels and restaurants. Hate walked openly, courage stood silently. Civil rights era's ugliest confrontation, white robes versus dignity. Segregation defended through intimidation, but the demonstrators remained, refusing to yield. On November 2nd, 1925, Los Angeles Central Library rose under construction, pillars reaching skyward. Stone and ambition merged, a temple to knowledge growing amid California's expanding metropolis. Workers built more than building. They constructed democracy's foundation. Every brick promised access, learning. On February 18, 1861, Jefferson Davis was inaugurated as Confederate States President in Montgomery, Alabama. A new nation born from slavery's defense. Cheers rose, flags waved, secession formalized. America tore itself apart. He swore oaths to preserve what conscience demanded be abolished. 4 years of bloodshed began with one man's ceremony. On October 20th, 1914, the 2nd Battalion Scots Guards prepared reconnaissance toward Gelluvelt before battle erupted days later. Pipes and rifles ready, they moved toward Ypres' grinding horror. 9 days before Gelluvelt's desperate fight, these men stood on war's threshold, uniforms clean, faces unaware of coming carnage. On September 10, 1945, a Mitsubishi J2M5 Raiden sat silent at Atsugi Airdrome. Japan surrendered, interceptors grounded forever. The Thunder God fighter outlived its empire by days. Propeller still, war finished. American victors examined what weeks earlier would have attacked them from Pacific skies, now conquered and peaceful. American soldiers posed with captured Imperial German flamethrowers during World War I, trophies of terror, weapons designed for nightmares. They held instruments that turned trenches into infernos. Fire became tactical, horror became standard. These captured machines represented warfare's darkest evolution, victory measured by seizing enemy tools created solely for burning men alive. Around 1920, civilians enjoyed post-war tank rides. War machines turned carnival attractions. Children laughed atop steel that once crushed trenches. Peace transformed weapons into entertainment. Tanks that killed thousands now carried joyrides. Europe exhaled. Peculiar amusement. In January 1918, 3 Allied soldiers posed amid a Belgian village's ruins. Walls crumbled, homes destroyed, community erased. They stood where families once lived. War reduced civilization to rubble. The soldiers' faces showed exhaustion, not triumph. Survival and devastation, In 1959, Fidel Castro visited America surrounded by admirers, revolutionary charm captivating crowds. Before embargo, before missiles, before decades of hostility. He smiled, shook hands, sold revolution as liberation. The U.S. didn't yet know this bearded Cuban would become Cold War nemesis. Brief honeymoon before history turned bitter. In April 1859, 20 Oberlin, Ohio rescuers were arrested after hundreds rallied to save former slave John Price from slave catchers in 1858. Their courage defied the Fugitive Slave Act, risking imprisonment for human freedom. The photograph captured abolitionists who chose conscience over compliance, proving that ordinary people could. On September 3rd, 1967, Sweden switched from left side to right side, driving overnight. The first morning revealed chaos as confused drivers navigated reversed traffic patterns. Years of preparation couldn't prevent initial disorder. Vehicles crowded wrong lanes, drivers hesitated, accidents waited. Italian Arditi of the unsettling shock battalion embodied elite ferocity during World War I. These assault troops wore distinctive black uniforms and daggers, charging enemy trenches with reckless courage. They became legends of aggression and nationalist fervor, feared by enemies and celebrated at home. Kaiser Wilhelm II visited a Hungarian Honved unit, inspecting Austro-Hungarian allies during the Great War. German and Hungarian soldiers stood at attention as imperial power assessed its eastern partner. The visit symbolized fragile alliances, holding empires together through shared enemies and mutual interests. Uniforms, protocol, and displays of unity masked tensions. In 1964, Manchester, England, industrial grit met cultural awakening. Factory smoke still hung over red brick terraces, while youth culture stirred beneath gray skies. The city pulsed with working-class resilience, northern soul, and quiet rebellion. It was a moment between eras, old industries fading. In 1949, Parker High School's Anti-Long-Skirt Association forcibly trimmed a student's hem, enforcing fashion conformity through peer pressure. The incident revealed post-war anxieties about femininity, modesty, and teenage rebellion. What began as hemline debates became struggles over identity and control. In 1931, Mexican photographer Manuel Álvarez Bravo created Caja de Visiones, Box of Visions, capturing a peep show box where onlookers gazed inside. His lens revealed the human desire to see hidden worlds, exploring voyeurism, curiosity, and illusion. The photograph became a meditation on perception itself. In 1890, Hamilton, New Jersey, a butcher stood proudly before his shop, apron stained with the day's labor. Hanging meat and sharp tools represented honest work in a small American town. He embodied self-sufficiency and craft, serving neighbors with skill passed through generations. Behind stern expression lived a tradesman's dignity. Between 1942 and 1943, Great-Grandpa O.C. and his buddies trained in California's Desert Training Center, preparing for North African combat. Sand, heat, and camaraderie forged soldiers from young men. They learned warfare's brutal lessons under merciless sun, knowing soon they would face real enemy fire. In 1980, London, punk's defiant energy still echoed through streets where economic hardship and Thatcher's policies reshaped Britain. The city balanced tradition and rebellion, royal pageantry alongside squats and protest. Gray skies hung over changing neighborhoods where working-class communities faced displacement. Bombers roared through hostile skies on their deadly mission, engines thundering above clouds and fear. Crew members sat tense, knowing flak and fighters awaited below. Each aircraft carried tons of explosives toward distant targets, where destruction would rain from the heavens. Young men flew between life and death, duty compelling them forward into fire, smoke, and the uncertain return home. In 1919, a massive molasses tank burst in Boston's North End, unleashing a deadly wave that killed 21 people and injured 150. The sticky flood moved with terrifying speed, crushing buildings and drowning victims in brown syrup. Locals claim the area still smells faintly of molasses today. Phineas Gage survived a steel tamping rod blasting completely through his skull in 1848, destroying part of his brain. Incredibly, he walked and talked afterward, though his personality changed dramatically. The railroad worker became neuroscience's most famous case, proving that specific brain regions controlled behavior and emotion. In 1859, 20 Oberlin, Ohio rescuers were arrested after hundreds rallied to save former slave John Price from slave catchers in 1858. Their courage defied the Fugitive Slave Act, risking imprisonment for human freedom. The photograph captured abolitionists who chose conscience over compliance, proving that ordinary people could challenge injustice with extraordinary moral courage and collective resistance. On November 2nd, 1925, women sparred playfully on the beach, defying era's rigid beauty standards. Their bodies moved freely, challenging expectations of feminine behavior and appearance. The photograph captured joy, strength, and rebellion against society's narrow definitions of acceptable womanhood. In 1963, Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs performed at the haunted house, their wild garage rock energy electrifying crowds. Turban-wearing frontman Domingo Samudio led his band through raw, infectious rhythms that defined early rock and roll's rebellious spirit. They embodied Texas rock's untamed soul. In 1907, the Austro-Hungarian Empire introduced the microphone cassette M07, an innovative military communication device. The compact microphone cassette represented early battlefield technology, attempting to improve command communication during modern warfare's evolution. It symbolized empires racing toward technological supremacy before World War I's catastrophe. In 1931, James Whale's Frankenstein brought Mary Shelley's Gothic masterpiece to terrifying life. Boris Karloff's iconic portrayal of the monster became cinema's definitive vision of created horror. Lightning crackled, machinery hummed, and humanity's hubris awakened something tragic and monstrous. Happy Halloween. The night when shadows lengthen and boundaries between worlds blur. Jack-o'-lanterns glow with flickering menace while costumed figures roam darkened streets. Ancient traditions meet modern mischief as fear and fantasy dance together. Children chase candy while adults embrace the macabre, celebrating humanity's timeless fascination with darkness, death, and the delicious thrill of being safely frightened. Kaiser Wilhelm II visited a Hungarian Honvéd unit, inspecting Austro-Hungarian allies during the Great War. German and Hungarian soldiers stood at attention as imperial power assessed its eastern partner. The visit symbolized fragile alliances holding empires together. In 1943, women presented papers to enroll in the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, volunteering to serve their nation during World War II. They stepped forward with determination, breaking gender barriers to support the war effort. These pioneers transformed military service, proving courage wore no single uniform and patriotism. On October 30th, 1948, toxic smog killed 20 people and sickened 6,000 in Donora, Pennsylvania. Industrial pollution trapped by weather inversion transformed air into poison, choking the steel town for days. The disaster exposed America's environmental crisis, where progress demanded a deadly price. Donora became a cautionary symbol, where lungs paid for prosperity and invisible violence killed silently. In 1941, a destroyed Wehrmacht artillery position lay near Volokholamsk in the Moscow region. The wreckage reflects the brutal eastern front of World War II, a stark testament to fierce battles, strategic resistance, and the devastating toll of mechanized warfare. The new 30th Division of the National Revolutionary Army was a key military unit of China's forces during the early 20th century. Trained for modern warfare, it played a vital role in campaigns against Japanese invasion and internal conflicts, reflecting China's turbulent era of resistance and reform. 81 years ago, during the Battle of Aachen, PFC Lundgren operated a handy-talkie radio on the front lines. His role was crucial for communication amid intense urban combat, reflecting the bravery and coordination required in one of World War II's pivotal European battles. In 1944, Polish insurgents captured a German SDKF Z-251 armored fighting vehicle during the Warsaw Uprising. The image symbolizes defiance and resourcefulness, as resistance fighters repurposed enemy machinery in their struggle for freedom amid the brutal chaos of World War II. In 1945, Chinese soldiers were stationed in Keelung, Taiwan, during the final stages of World War II. The photograph captures a moment of vigilance and transition, as military presence marked the shifting control and the complex political landscape of East Asia at war's end. In 1918, young women operated stock tickers and boards at New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel, the first time the establishment employed girls across various departments. The image reflects early shifts in gender roles, highlighting women entering workplaces traditionally dominated by men during World War I. In 1984, Lionel Richie stood at the height of his musical fame, blending soulful ballads with pop sensibilities. The photograph captures his charisma and style during an era that defined 1980s music, cementing his status as an enduring icon of global entertainment. These vintage photographs capture a young Lucille Ball radiating charm, wit, and early Hollywood glamour. Long before I Love. Lucy made her a household name. The images reveal her playful personality, timeless beauty, and the budding talent that would shape television comedy forever. In 1910, the Big Tree Room at Yosemite's Upper Hotel featured a 175-foot tall cedar planted by Englishman James Hutchings. Towering at 8 feet in diameter, the tree became the room's centerpiece, a majestic symbol of nature within human-designed spaces, now sadly lost. In 1955, Slovenia, young boys diligently delivered firewood through their village streets. The photograph captures post-war resilience, industrious youth, and the quiet determination of a generation contributing to their families' survival amid modest rural life. In February 1954, during her Korea tour, Marilyn Monroe signed a large pinup poster she had posed for in 1946. Her warm smile and approachable demeanor endeared her to troops, blending Hollywood glamour with heartfelt morale boosting in a war-torn setting. In 1955, James Dean was photographed leaning against a jukebox in Marfa, Texas, during the filming of Giant. The image captures his effortless, cool, and brooding charisma, a fleeting, iconic moment of youth, rebellion, and 1950s Americana. In 1955, Leo G. Carroll and Mara Corday starred in Tarantula, a sci-fi horror film that terrified a generation. The movie's giant mutant spider and eerie desert setting epitomized 1950s atomic age fears, leaving lasting impressions of suspense and arachnophobia on young audiences. In 1957, Elvis Presley was drafted into the U.S. Army, a pivotal moment in his life and career. Quickly promoted to sergeant, he balanced military duty with his rising stardom, showcasing discipline and charm that endeared him to fans worldwide. It likely depicts a historical scene from that period, possibly workers, assembly lines, or daily life in post-war America.